This story is created to help you soothe and relax. It's totally okay if you fell asleep anytime while listening. You didn't miss a thing. Tomorrow, you'll receive a totally different story. Let's begin. The Corner of Comfort. Chapter 1. The Heart of the Neighborhood. In the sprawling suburbs of Austin, Texas, where the streets were lined with oak trees and the evenings echoed with the chirps of crickets, there stood a small convenience store named the Corner of Comfort. It was an unremarkable building at first glance, with its faded red brick facade and an old-fashioned sign swinging gently in the breeze. But for the residents of this close-knit community, it was a beacon of warmth and familiarity. The store was the brainchild of Ethan and Jamie, two friends who had known each other since their sandbox days. Ethan, with his quiet demeanor and a smile that reached his eyes, had a passion for gardening that was evident in the array of potted plants adorning the storefront. Jamie, on the other hand, was a storyteller at heart. His years as a school teacher had given him a patient, nurturing manner that made everyone feel at home. Their decision to leave their respective careers and embark on this venture was spurred by a shared dream: to create a place that was more than just a store, a place that could be the heart of the neighborhood. They wanted to build a space where people could come not just to shop, but to connect, share stories, and be part of a community. As you walked into the Corner of Comfort, the first thing that struck you was the cozy atmosphere. The walls were lined with wooden shelves that held an eclectic mix of items, from locally made jams and honey to a small selection of books, including some written by Jamie himself. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled the air, inviting customers to linger. The Corner of Comfort had quickly become a hub of activity in the neighborhood. Each morning, it was filled with the hustle and bustle of people stopping by before their day began. Parents on their way to drop off their kids at school would grab a cup of coffee. Retirees would pick up the newspaper and settle in for a chat. One of the regulars was Mrs. Henderson, a sprightly octogenarian who came every Thursday to buy birdseed. She would often regale Ethan and Jamie with stories of the birds that visited her garden, her eyes twinkling with delight. Then there was young Timmy, a shy boy of 10, who saved his allowance to buy comic books from the store's small but well-curated collection. He looked up to Jamie and Ethan, seeing them as uncles he never had. But perhaps the most intriguing regular was Mr. Garcia, a retired professor who had moved to Austin to be closer to his grandchildren. Every morning, without fail, he would come in for his coffee and a crossword puzzle. He often engaged Jamie in discussions about literature and history, sometimes even challenging him to a game of chess. As the day wound down, the store would take on a quieter, more reflective atmosphere. Neighbors would drop by after work, picking up essentials or simply enjoying the sense of community. Ethan and Jamie knew most of their customers by name and would often go out of their way to stock special items that someone had requested. The Corner of Comfort was more than just a convenience store. It was a testament to the power of friendship and community. It was a place where people felt listened to, cared for, and valued. As the sun set, casting a golden glow over the store, Ethan and Jamie would often stand at the doorway, looking out at the neighborhood they loved, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment and belonging. This store was not just their dream. It had become a vital part of the lives of everyone in the neighborhood. And as the stars began to twinkle in the Texas sky, they knew that they had created something truly special, a place that would be cherished for many years to come. Chapter 2. A Day in the Life. The morning sun cast a soft, golden hue over the suburban streets of Austin, gently waking the neighborhood. At the Corner of Comfort, the day began with the familiar ritual of unlocking the doors, flipping the sign to open, and the rich aroma of brewing coffee filling the air. Ethan tended to the plants outside, carefully watering and pruning them, while Jamie set up the inside of the store, arranging the day's pastries and fresh bread delivered from a local bakery. As the clock neared 7 a.m., the first customers of the day began to trickle in. Mr. Jenkins, a brisk-walking lawyer who lived a few blocks away, was always the first. He grabbed a hot coffee and a bagel, offering a quick nod and a smile before rushing off to beat the morning traffic. By mid-morning, the store was buzzing with activity. The corner of comfort was more than a convenience store. It was a tapestry of lives intersecting, a place where stories unfolded and friendships blossomed. Ethan and Jamie, ever the gracious hosts, moved around with ease, striking up conversations, offering recommendations, or sometimes just listening. Around 10 a.m., Mrs. Patel came in with her two young children. The store was a wonderland for them, filled with treats and treasures. While her kids gazed longingly at the candy aisle, Mrs. Patel chatted with Jamie about the upcoming school fundraiser. Jamie, always eager to support the community, offered to donate some books and homemade cookies. Noon brought the lunch crowd, a mix of office workers seeking a quick bite and retirees enjoying their leisurely pace of life. Ethan, who had a knack for cooking, had recently introduced a small selection of homemade sandwiches and salads, which had quickly become popular. The corner of comfort didn't just nourish the body, it nourished the soul. In the afternoons, the store took on a quieter, more relaxed vibe. This was when Ethan loved to take a little break, sitting outside, tending to his plants, and greeting passersby. It was during one of these afternoons that he met Lily, a new resident in the neighborhood who shared his passion for gardening. Their conversation about native Texas plants soon turned into a weekly gardening chat, eagerly anticipated by both. As the school day ended, a group of kids on bikes would often stop by. They'd head straight for the freezer, giggling and jostling each other as they picked out ice creams. Ethan and Jamie watched them with a fondness, reminiscing about their own childhood days. They had a special bond with these kids, often slipping them extra treats or gently guiding them through the ups and downs of growing up. Late afternoons were for the regulars like Mr. Garcia, who'd come in for his second cup of coffee and a chat with Jamie. Their conversations were a staple of the store, ranging from discussions about classic novels to debates on current events. Sometimes other customers would join in, turning the store into a lively forum of shared wisdom and diverse perspectives. As evening approached, the store would see a new wave of customers, parents stopping by after work to pick up dinner ingredients, teenagers hanging out, and sometimes couples on a leisurely walk. The corner of comfort was a haven, a place to unwind and catch up on the day's happenings. One particular evening, a local musician, Grace, stopped by. She had just moved to Austin and was looking for places to perform. Ethan and Jamie, always supportive of local talent, offered her a spot to play at the store on weekends. This decision would soon turn into a beloved tradition, with the store hosting small, intimate concerts that brought the community together in a celebration of music and camaraderie. As the day wound down, Ethan and Jamie would restock the shelves, clean up, and prepare for the next day. They often took a moment to sit together, reflecting on the day's events, the stories they had heard, and the lives they had touched. They talked about their plans for the store, always thinking of ways to make it even more welcoming. Finally, as the clock struck 9 p.m., they would lock up the store, their hearts full of gratitude. The corner of comfort was more than just a business to them. It was a living, breathing part of the community, a place where everyone was welcome, and every visit was an opportunity to make a difference. As they walked home under the starlit sky, they knew that each day brought new challenges and joys, but one thing remained constant. Their little store was a beacon of comfort and community, a place where the simple things in life were celebrated and cherished. Chapter 3. The Community Garden. As spring ushered in its vibrant bloom, Ethan and Jamie embarked on a new venture that would further entwine the corner of comfort with the heartstrings of the neighborhood. Behind the store, there lay a patch of land, neglected and overgrown, which Ethan had always viewed with a gardener's eye. Together, they envisioned transforming this forgotten space into a thriving community garden. The idea was simple yet profound: create a garden where neighbors could come together to plant, nurture, and harvest. It would be a place not just for growing vegetables and flowers, but for cultivating friendships, sharing knowledge, and fostering a sense of community. Word of the community garden spread quickly, and the response was enthusiastic. Families, retirees, and even teenagers showed interest in participating. Ethan and Jamie organized a weekend meeting at the store to discuss the project. People from all walks of life gathered, sipping coffee and sharing their visions for the garden. It was a mosaic of ideas and excitement. The first task was clearing the land. It was hard work, but the community spirit made it feel like a celebration. Neighbors came with tools, gloves, and a willingness to get their hands dirty. Ethan led the effort, his expertise in gardening guiding the group. Jamie, with his knack for organization, ensured everyone had a task and felt included. As the land transformed, so did the people. A retired carpenter, Mr. Thompson, built raised garden beds. Mrs. Lee, who had a talent for botany, shared tips on plant varieties that would thrive in the Texas climate. Young children, under the watchful eyes of their parents, painted stones and markers for the garden. It was a project fueled by the collective energy and skills of the community. The garden quickly became a cherished space. Neighbors would visit to tend to their plants, often staying to chat with others. Ethan set up a small bench under a tree, creating a tranquil spot for people to sit and enjoy the beauty of the garden. Jamie, ever the educator, organized weekend workshops on gardening topics, from composting to pest control, which were well attended and appreciated. As the seasons changed, the garden flourished. Tomatoes, peppers, herbs, and a variety of flowers added color and life to the once barren plot. The success of the garden was celebrated with a summer harvest potluck. Tables were set up in the garden, laden with dishes prepared with ingredients grown there. The air was filled with laughter, music, and the clinking of glasses as the community came together to enjoy the fruits of their labor. The garden did more than provide fresh produce. It sowed the seeds of unity and cooperation. It became a sanctuary for those seeking a moment of peace, a classroom for eager learners, and a playground for children's imaginations. Stories and advice were exchanged among the flower beds and vines, weaving a tapestry of shared experiences and deepening bonds. Ethan and Jamie watched this all with a sense of awe and pride. What started as a small idea had blossomed into something beautiful and meaningful. The community garden was not just an extension of the Corner of Comfort. It was a reflection of the community itself, diverse, vibrant, and full of life. As the chapter closes, the garden stands as a testament to what can be achieved when a community comes together. It symbolizes hope, growth, and the nurturing power of human connection. For Ethan and Jamie, it was a dream realized, a confirmation that their little store was indeed a cornerstone of something much larger, a place where people could come together to create something beautiful, not just for themselves, but for everyone around them. Chapter 4. As summer gave way to fall, the community around the Corner of Comfort braced for the unexpected. Dark clouds gathered ominously, signaling a storm unlike any other that had graced the skies of Austin. The weather forecasts warned of heavy rains and fierce winds, a tempest that threatened to shake the tranquility of the neighborhood. Ethan and Jamie, ever the custodians of their community, prepared for the worst. They stocked up on essentials, batteries, water, canned goods, and first aid supplies. They knew that in times of crisis, the Corner of Comfort had to live up to its name more than ever. The storm hit with a fury that rattled windows and sent trees swaying dangerously. Power lines went down, plunging parts of the neighborhood into darkness. The streets, usually bustling with life, were eerily quiet, save for the howling wind and pounding rain. Throughout the night, as the storm raged, Ethan and Jamie kept the store open. They lit candles and set up a small generator to keep the coffee warm and the lights on. Neighbors, driven out by power outages or in need of supplies, found their way to the store. The Corner of Comfort became a beacon in the storm, a place of refuge and warmth amidst the chaos. In the flickering candlelight, the store took on a surreal, cozy atmosphere. Neighbors huddled together, sharing blankets and stories. Jamie, with his innate sense of empathy, listened and comforted those who were anxious and afraid. Ethan, practical and calm, made rounds, ensuring everyone was comfortable and had what they needed. As dawn broke, the storm subsided, leaving in its wake a landscape of debris and disarray. The community garden, the pride of the neighborhood, had suffered. Plants were uprooted, and the beautiful flower beds were a tangle of broken stems and petals. The sight was disheartening, but even as they assessed the damage, Ethan and Jamie knew this was not the end. It was a challenge, a call to come together and rebuild. And come together they did. As the news of the garden's plight spread, neighbors, still reeling from the storm's impact, showed up with tools, seeds, and a resilient spirit. The cleanup began, with everyone pitching in. Teenagers cleared the debris, adults repaired the damaged beds, and children, with their small hands, planted new seeds. The restoration of the garden became a symbol of the community's indomitable spirit. It was not just about bringing the garden back to life. It was about healing, about reclaiming what the storm had tried to take away. The work was hard, but the sense of purpose and camaraderie made it a labor of love. In the weeks that followed, the garden began to show signs of life again. New shoots broke through the soil, flowers bloomed, and the vegetable beds once again brimmed with promise. The community, too, found a renewed sense of strength and unity. They had weathered the storm together, had forged deeper bonds. Ethan and Jamie, watching their neighbors work side by side, felt a profound sense of gratitude and pride. The corner of comfort and the garden it nurtured had become more than just physical spaces. They were embodiments of community resilience and togetherness. As the chapter closes, the garden stands rejuvenated, a testament to the community's ability to rise from adversity. The corner of comfort, with its doors wide open, continues to be a place of refuge, a place where the light is always on and the coffee is always warm. It's a reminder that even in the aftermath of a storm, there is hope, growth, and the enduring strength of human connection. Time 2. Chapter 5. The Celebration. The rejuvenation of the community garden was a testament to the neighborhood's resilience and unity. To commemorate this triumph of collective spirit, the residents decided to organize a celebration at the corner of comfort. It was to be a day of joy, gratitude, and community bonding, a way to acknowledge everyone's hard work and to celebrate the enduring strength of their neighborhood. Ethan and Jamie were at the heart of the preparations. They envisioned an event that would not only bring the community together, but also showcase the diverse talents and cultures of its members. The store and the garden were to be the centerpieces of the celebration, symbolizing the unity and growth they had all experienced. As the day of the celebration approached, the air was filled with a buzz of excitement. Banners were hung, tables were set up in the garden, and a small stage was erected near the store for performances. The garden, lush and blooming, was a perfect backdrop for the festivities. The celebration began in the late afternoon, with the golden sun casting a warm glow over the neighborhood. Residents gathered, each bringing a dish for the potluck. The tables were laden with an array of foods, from Mrs. Patel's famous samosas to Mr. Thompson's barbecue ribs. Each dish was a piece of someone's home, shared with all. Music filled the air, a mix of tunes from Grace's guitar and songs from a local band. Children ran around with painted faces, while adults mingled, laughed, and danced. Jamie, with his flair for storytelling, entertained a group of kids with tales of heroes and adventures, their eyes wide with wonder. Ethan, meanwhile, led tours of the garden, proudly showing off the thriving plants and flowers. He spoke passionately about the importance of community spaces and how the garden was a symbol of what people could achieve when they worked together. His words resonated with the listeners, many of whom had their hands in the soil of the garden's revival. As the evening set in, the celebration took on a magical quality. Lanterns hung from the trees, casting a soft glow over the garden. The air was filled with the sound of laughter, music, and the clinking of glasses. It was a scene of contentment and community. The highlight of the evening was the unveiling of a mural on the side of the corner of comfort. It was a community project, painted by local artists and children, depicting scenes from the neighborhood, the garden, the store, and the faces of residents. At the center were Ethan and Jamie, painted as the nurturing forces behind this vibrant community space. The unveiling of the mural was met with cheers and applause. Ethan and Jamie were overwhelmed with emotion. This was more than just a painting. It was a tribute to their dream, a representation of the love and appreciation of their neighbors. As the celebration wound down, people started to leave, taking with them the warmth and joy of the evening. The corner of comfort and the community garden were left adorned with the remnants of the celebration, a reminder of the day's happiness and unity. Ethan and Jamie closed up the store, their hearts full. They looked at the mural, at the smiling faces of their neighbors, and felt a deep sense of fulfillment. They had set out to create a simple store, but ended up nurturing a community's heart. As they walked home under the starry night, they knew that the celebration was more than just a day's event. It was a milestone, a memory that would be cherished and would continue to inspire. The corner of comfort, with its doors always open, stood not just as a store or a garden, but as a testament to the power of community, friendship, and the simple joys of life. Chapter 6 Epilogue. Years had passed since the day Ethan and Jamie first opened the doors of the corner of comfort. The seasons had turned their cycles, each leaving its own unique imprint on the store and the community it served. The once new shelves and counters now bore the gentle patina of time, and the garden had matured into a lush haven, a mosaic of colors and fragrances. Ethan and Jamie, a little grayer and perhaps a bit slower in their movements, still ran the store with the same passion and warmth. They had become more than just proprietors. They were custodians of a legacy, guardians of a place that held countless memories and stories. The neighborhood had evolved too. New families had moved in, adding their own threads to the community tapestry. Children who had once picked out candies in the store now stopped by as adults, sometimes with little ones of their own, to share in the simple joy of a familiar place. The corner of comfort had become a generational touchstone, a place where past and present intertwined. The community garden continued to be a source of pride and togetherness. Each spring, a new group of volunteers would come together to plant and tend, guided by the seasoned hands of those who had been part of it since the beginning. The garden was not just a place of growth for plants, but for relationships and learning. It had become a sanctuary for those seeking a moment of peace, a space for children to learn about nature, and a gathering spot for celebrations and quiet conversations. Ethan and Jamie often reflected on the journey they had embarked upon. What started as a dream to run a small store had blossomed into something far greater. They had witnessed firsthand the power of community, the strength of shared purpose, and the beauty of simple human connections. The store had seen moments of joy, times of sorrow, and instances of communal triumph, each adding a layer to its rich history. The mural on the side of the store, now a cherished landmark, continued to capture the essence of the neighborhood. It was a canvas of collective memory, a visual narrative of the journey they had all taken together. Visitors to the store would often pause and look at it, drawn by the story it told, a story of unity, resilience, and hope. In the quiet moments after closing the store, Ethan and Jamie would sometimes sit outside, sipping coffee and looking at the stars. They talked about the people they had met, the lives they had touched, and the changes they had seen. They mused about the future, knowing that one day they would pass on the stewardship of the corner of comfort to someone else, someone who shared their vision and love for the community. As the epilogue draws to a close, the corner of comfort stands not just as a store or a garden, but as a living testament to the enduring human spirit. It is a place where the simple things are celebrated, a warm greeting, a shared story, a helping hand. It is a reminder that in every community there is a potential for connection, for growth, and for comfort. Ethan and Jamie, looking out at the quiet street, feel a profound sense of peace. They have created something that transcends them, a legacy of kindness and community that will continue to thrive in the hearts of those who walk through the doors of the Corner of Comfort. And as the night deepens, they lock the store one more time, content in the knowledge that they have contributed something truly special to the tapestry of human experience.